101. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. In NFL news, the Miami Dolphins and defensive tackle Zach Sealer reached agreement yesterday on a 3-year extension worth up to $67.75 million, including $44 million of that guaranteed. Sealer, a 7th-round pick out of Ferris State in 2018, has had back-to-back double-digit sack seasons after having just 10 career sacks in the previous 5 seasons. In other NFL news, veteran defensive lineman Austin Johnson is signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Johnson, drafted by the Titans in the 2nd round in 2016, played with the team from 2016 through 2019. He's also had stops with the Giants, Chargers, and Bills. In the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers and star guard Luka Doncic agreed to terms on a 3-year, $165 million extension that is expected to keep the Slovenian superstar in L.A. through 2028. Doncic was traded to the Lakers in February in a blockbuster trade from the Dallas Mavericks. For every foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. If you want to get in, we have football on, was that Friday or Saturday is the game? I think it's Saturday, right?
Saturday.
Saturday is the game. Friday is next week's game. That's what it is. That's what I'm thinking of. And they got one more practice before they go to Tampa Bay. They got practice on Wednesday. But I didn't go over the weekend, so I do want to put that disclaimer out. This is the last weekend technically without a football game, so I spent some time with the family before, I'll be missing for the rest of the next few months. But from the people that were there, it's not a very encouraging practice. Brian Callahan, I guess, after practice, made both units, the entire team, I guess, run sprints. He called it a...
they ran sprints?
Yeah.
Both offense and defense?
Yeah. He called it a dog crap, freaking awful practice. To put it nicely, I think
crap?
Dog crap. That's the censored version, Blaine.
Okay,
so you may have to take out crap and freaking for other words.
Dang, Jackson, why did you just say what he said?
I like my job.
So that was on Sunday, so not great. And it's, again, I understand it's just practice, but it is becoming a trend of bad practices, depending on who you ask and how you view things through a different lens. It's not been great. It looks like the way that Easton put it in his article over at A to Z Sports, Blaine, that it was very reminiscent of the Sunday's practice, was very reminiscent of the 2024 Titans, where it seemed like when something bad happened, they couldn't overcome it. Now, I don't know what all this means in the grand scheme of things right now, here in early August. But we have both talked about how you would like to start seeing the trend go the other way. And it seems that if we were to have some very mid, maybe some cheeks and trash, dog crap is not the trend you want to be going to describe a practice.
Well, first, typical you start off with, let's go chronological. How did they do Saturday? So it must have been okay.
Some people said it was okay. Some people said it was 2 days.
It was mid?
Yeah. The way, I don't know.
Was it mid?
People have these conflicting reports out there, and I wasn't out there. I've heard some people say that it was two bad practices in a row. I heard some people say that Saturday was a good practice. So, beauty in the eye of the beholder at this point.
From what I saw, it was a much better day than Sunday.
Yeah.
Right, but does that mean it was a mid?
It was on the good side of mid is probably where I'd put it.
Oh, so it was a good practice. I mean, if it's above average.
So would it be all right then?
Yeah, it'd be all right.
All right. our sliding scale of descriptors.
Where does dog crap awful? Is that just the bottom?
That has to be the worse than trash and cheeks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because you're using a couple different expletives to describe that one.
So who practiced bad? Or what side of the ball practiced bad?
Offense, but everybody.
But everybody ran.
But everybody
so the entire team ran.
That's if I'm not mistaken, that's what was reported.
Jackson, you supposed to give us qualifiers. All you guys chitter chatter all the time, man. What did they all run, or just the first unit, offense and defense? Why it looks.
We'll have to look it up because I have to figure out who said it.
If you really want to,
that's what I recall.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't out there, so I have no idea who ran. I didn't even know they ran until you just said it. I had no idea. I definitely heard everybody was talking about how the practice didn't go very well offensively, and that they were. It was I guess Denard Wilson called basically a 12-play blitz period where they would just put everybody up on the line and would just kind of do something.
Buck said it was a solid Saturday and a trash practice on Sunday. Yeah. I've heard,
which was the family day too as well.
Yeah, I've heard Easton say it was 2 bad practices in a row. Oh. So I mean, again, just kind of sort of conflicting reports on what was going on, and I mean, I guess for me, it's like the big question for me is when do we start seeing the offense kind of fight back? Because it feels like the offense hasn't put up much of a fight against this Tennessee Titans defense. And I mean, I'm talking as far as they haven't been able to overcome mistakes. They haven't been able to overcome some penalties here and there. And it's kind of like, when does that actually happen? Because it sounds like to me, they're stacking bad days versus stacking good days. And I don't know if that's really, I mean, again, it's early August, but you'd like to see something different.
Well, I mean, obviously, not being out there watching them, there's reasons it goes into every play and why it doesn't work on offense. So it's a timing rhythm. I don't like the term fight back. Okay. Like everybody out there is actually fighting for their lives. So to me, that then draws, you're pitting offense versus defense. What you can say is the defense won today, and they won convincingly. Now, what was the plan of the day for the offense and the defense? We've heard the offense is supposed to be all installed now, right, over the weekend. Defense, I don't think, is all installed. I think they kind of go at their own pace of what they're doing. I have no idea. I've never heard them say. Maybe Denard Wilson may have said they haven't installed all the defense, I think. So, and then what was it? The red zone, which is much more difficult to score, where they backed up, which is somewhat an advantage to the offense. I mean, to the defense. But I don't like giving passes. Like both sides of the ball has to execute, regardless of if they're pitted back on the goal line, in the red zone. I mean, we start going down these roads and you can start saying, well, then what is good advantage for the offense? Like, what is it? So at the same time, I mean, this is, a young quarterback. He hasn't played in a game yet. He's going to have some bumps in the road. I think we're expecting him to, fix the team when the parts around him are growing at the same pace as him. I mean, it's a young wide receiver group outside of Ridley. So if you contain Ridley, then what happens? Then I hear Ridley drops a deep ball.
Right.
So, a lot of things are going on here that are not in his favor. So if he catches the deep ball, does it become just a midday? I mean, so it's just a lot of factors in here where offense is built on rhythm and timing, and defenses, and Denard Wilson is all about attack style. And he seems like he's kind of revved it up to some different things. So I think it's actually somewhat of a good thing because he can handle these, bad practices mentally, and it's not discouraging. And hopefully it'll benefit him in the long run. I think, everybody acts like we're running a sprint. I was a sprinter. This is a freaking marathon, and nowhere near are we even starting yet. And so for us to kind of critique it on a daily basis, which what we're going to do, they're going to have some bad days. Now, to me personally, I would have thought, I said it before, round 5 or 6, it should start being who won practice. You don't really know. Or it should be going back and forth. Today, offense won, the defense kind of won today. It should start being somewhat like that here in the beginning. So without seeing it, like how bad it was, I don't know what it really was bad. For Callahan to get upset, it had to be pretty bad. And I think that was family day. So maybe he was saying that the offense wasn't focused and the defense was. I don't know. Maybe they got distracted. But he was trying to get people's attention. That's for sure. Now, I would love to find out who all ran.
Okay, here we go. Lauren Walsh, I found it during all that. Lauren Walsh was there at practice. She says in a tweet, Brian Callahan was not pleased with today's practice, judging from some choice language he yelled as they finished up. Whole team ran sprints at the end.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, she's with WSMV, Lauren Walsh of WSMV.
Oh, okay.
So she was there. So there you go. I knew I saw it somewhere. I just couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah. So I think that's his prerogative, and actually he's saying the whole team. It's not just, even though the defense, everybody's saying did well at practice, obviously something he didn't like in an entire team. So I don't know what that was.
Well,
not being there.
There's so many questions I have about from the outsider perspective, where how these practices go. When do these practices need to start changing? Because they did a lot of third down and long again, and third down and then they did a lot of red zone. So they've been working really hard over most of the practices I've been to, and the few that I've missed, on third and long and red zone, and it just doesn't. And I don't know if they're working on it because those are just heavy emphasis, or they working on it because they haven't been able to move off of it because they need to fix and correct before they moved off of it. So I don't know. It's really, maybe concerning is not the right word, but again, and I agree with you. Fight back seems like they're not fighting at all.
Right. That's why I don't want to use that term.
So it's like, when are they going to land a punch? Maybe if we were to use it.
When are we just going to start seeing them have somewhat of success consistently?
Yeah.
And practices are built for offense to have somewhat of an advantage, especially once you start. So are they running the football enough? Like, I feel like they're not even running the football a lot.
Yeah, even if they are, it's very like
one of every 5
6
plays.
times. Yeah.
One of every 5 or 6 plays. To me, that also, I don't like that either.
Yeah. Of course, I guess if you're running third and long, again, that goes to the structure of the practice itself, where maybe the structure of the practice doesn't lend itself to on these third and longs if you're practicing a lot of that for a run play.
I wonder why we were doing so much third. Didn't we just do that like a couple of days ago?
That's what I'm saying. It's been like, it was like that. You got to remember the stadium practice a couple of days. Every practice seems to really emphasize third and long. And I know they were terrible in third and long last year as an offense and red zone, but it feels like there's a whole other part of the field we're not getting to on a regular basis with this team. I mean, I get that third and long, you're probably going to see a lot of it. But what if you don't see a lot? I know this sounds bad and negative. What if you don't see a lot of red zone opportunities, right? Like, you may have to score outside of the red zone on this team with this.
So is he assuming that they're going to have a lot of third and long?
I see. That's the thing. It feels like, how does a lot of third and long and a lot of red zone equate to each other, right? Because if you're in a lot of third and long, you're probably not seeing a lot of red zone. I got so many other questions I also want to get to when we come back. So let's think on that. When we come back, I also want to ask, why is it so tailored towards the defensive training camp? Because you're not the only one to say it. You're not the only one to think it. And I want to figure out why. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. We've been talking about Tennessee Titans offense versus defense. And Blaine, you've said it many times on this show. And then, of course, Daniel Jeremiah says it today. And because you see it all across the NFL. Right. Offenses are struggling right now, and there's even great quarterbacks are throwing interceptions in practice. Mm-hmm. There is no such thing as the days of the Marcus, no interceptions throughout camp doesn't really seem to happen anymore. But why is the defense so much more well-equipped against offenses early on in the training camp? Not just Tennessee Titans, but NFL-wide.
Well, I've said this before. I mean, it's because of the way that defenses are structured in that it's more in attack mode. So, offenses are built on timing and rhythm. If you get that off timing and rhythm, I don't care what offense you are. That I learned that when I first got in the league. That's when the West Coast offense was this dynamic deal. Well, all you had to do was get them off rhythm and timing, and the structure of the offense was screwed, whether it was the offensive line, the pass receivers, so you would do a lot of jamming and moving them, get them not in their spots at the time. So that takes time to recreate in the preseason. And so to me, that's why you got to really work on the physicality in the trenches as well as the rhythm and throwing to the players you're actually going to be throwing to. So mostly. So to me, that's why. But that typically changes about 5 practices in and it should be a teeter back and forth. You don't know who won practice, maybe one practice here or there. You say, the defense won, or the offense kind of, they had their day, and I'm just kind of a little stunned that we haven't seen that to this point, to be honest. Now, I don't know if that's how they're doing their practices with the way they're going to the stadiums and they're working on different stuff. When I'm talking about third down and long, I mean, there are third down periods that we would have during the regular season. I don't recall in training camp that we were really practicing third and long. I mean, to be honest, even when we were an average team. So when we have Big Eddie George, we were always working on 3rd and 5 or 6 or something like that. That would probably be the worst case scenario. So I don't recall a lot of that. That then leads to the defense having an advantage right there. If it's 3rd and long and there's only so many routes you can do and you got to hold up protection long. So I don't know if this is kind of a built-in thing that they're trying to make it difficult, not only for the quarterback, but also for the offensive line, which is, we all know, has been an issue the last 3 years. So I personally, I wouldn't like that. I want to just run my offense, just, see where we're at. But
that's a lot of plays you're not executing on the playbook, theoretically.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he's just making it very difficult. It's going to be difficult already. That's why I don't like saying that. It's going to be difficult already when you have a rookie quarterback. So everybody knows that. So he's going to be learning on the fly. So I just, I'm a little surprised that the defense is dominating to this level because I don't see them being better than a 18th, 19th ranked type defense, to be all honest. And with no dominant pass rusher, you got a dominant player in Jeffrey Simmons. No dominant linebacker, you got a good player in Cody Barton. No dominant, you got, DB, Monty Hooker's a good player. Good starter in this league. Snead is not practiced yet.
Right.
So, at every level, they don't have somebody dominant except for Jeffrey Simmons on this defense. So that's what makes it a little surprising that they're having this kind of dominance. And I think it's more than just the quarterback. I don't know if it's how they're structuring their play calling as far as when they're doing certain things because of making it tough, red zone, backed up. I mean, man. Yeesh. I don't know if I'd be structuring practice like that. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why. Maybe they're just making it difficult. Maybe that's why they keep saying they're making it difficult. But you want to make it difficult, but within the framework of what we're trying to work on a daily basis that is predominantly what you're going to be doing. That's why I said they're not even running the football enough. I mean, how often are they running the ball?
Doesn't even feel like a lot. And my
when
thing
they get
is
11-11,
how is your quarterback supposed to get into any kind of rhythm in a practice? And I get that, listen, defenses in the NFL are looking to knock every quarterback off the rhythm, but you do have scripted plays at the beginning to get your quarterback in the rhythm. Typically, every team has 15 opening plays, and I don't even feel like we've seen that because even at The stadium practice, the 3 big 11-on-11 sections were 3rd and long. They were silent count, and then they were red zone. And I get those things are all important, but and maybe I'm doing a little bit of hand-holding here that really shouldn't matter, but like, where's the easy completions for your quarterback to maybe build some confidence in a practice? I mean, if you're starting off difficult every time, not every game is going to start off as difficult as what they're making it. And when you call those scripted plays, when do you start practicing those kinds of scripted plays and those, maybe no huddle offenses trying to go down the field? Like, where are those in the practice that also simulate other game situations?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. They don't script practice like we're game playing.
Yeah.
They script their plays, but they're not scripting their plays against the Titans defense. Gotcha. See, so that could be an issue in itself, which most people don't. They just run their plays trying to see how it pays out, because the Titans could be running one thing and then it works well against another defense. I mean, so it could play itself out. So I'll be real. I'm real curious why they only practice in Tampa Bay one day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get that. Why can't they go Wednesday and go Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, that was really odd, because he's going to be out at the podium Wednesday morning is what we got in the email. Then they go on Thursday
Typically,
and practice.
Don't they go two times?
Yeah, it's normally more. The Seahawks came here last year, and it was a couple of days of joint work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I was sat there and went out to dinner with Leslie Frazier, who's the DC there.
Now, it doesn't say, I mean, I would think that you're not practicing on Friday, or you're at least doing a walkthrough on Friday, but they've talked up this whole joint practice thing, right?
Right. That's why I thought it was some big deal. Like, and one day?
Listen, no media availability tomorrow, or today, none tomorrow. Wednesday, which is at Ascension Thomas Saint Sports Park, 7:40 a.m., 8 a.m.'s practice, 9:40 a.m. you get the players, then they're going to Tampa Bay. And they have Thursday, Tampa Bay, media availability at 9:40 a.m. Eastern time to 12 p.m. is when practice will be over, roughly. And then Friday, no availability, so you'd assume that's just a walkthrough, right? I mean, like, you wouldn't practice in pads and do big drills with the game on Saturday, right?
No.
So what was the whole point of traveling down to Tampa for this extra one day of padded practice if you're not getting more out of it? I don't feel like I'm with you. This feels like they kind of fluffed it up to be something important, and then it's just one day of padded practice against a different opponent. At least for this one.
I don't know about that. That was your turn, fluff it up, but I get what you said, because
they built it up.
I really thought you typically go against a team 2 days.
Yeah.
And so one day, I'm just wondering how they might be just studding up. Like, there's never going to be, I'd love to see like 11 on 11. Like, what are they doing? Like, there's never going to be a time where you're kind of, it's going to get testy. I'd be really interested in a day. Like, the second day typically gets testy because the guy's watching film, then some guys toasted them, or some guy, leg whipped them, or somebody gets pissed, and then they go out that second practice, it comes and gets a little more physical. So that's
just a weird schedule for the week.
Yeah,
when I got this email, I had to read it 2 or 3 times.
I'd love to get just an explanation, like, okay, what are you going to benefit out of this one practice? I just want to hear what he has to say. It could have a logical reason for it. I'm not a coach, obviously, and I'd be coaching, but man, I just as a former player, I would really get more out of it going against guys a couple times. And then typically your starters aren't even playing a lot in that game. That's why they are actually doing most of the reps, the first and second team guys in those practices. So I don't know, man.
I just don't feel like we were told that these padded practices are going to be some huge benefit, and you only have one, which is a surprise.
I wonder if that's what changed, though.
Yeah.
They changed.
Maybe that's what they did.
Because I think you said Baker Mayfield's injured. Maybe they're beat up a little bit. So now they turned into one practice, and then that's why they put the pads on. Like, I don't know, like, the entirety of why these decisions are made. I mean, but man, we could just go down on Thursday and if that was the case. I mean, hey man, we'd just skip the scrimmaging and everything, or practice against each other.
I mean, what does that say about how you approach the preseason game? Because well,
that's out of your control if it just kind of happened that way.
But I mean, do you, because you don't have another padded practice on the schedule, do you play your starters longer?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much are they playing. Has he told us?
No, he hasn't told us.
I have no idea. I gave you my game plan.
I think the only people...
I don't think they ever really listen to me, who's non-coach, about how long somebody should play. But, a lot of vets are not going to want to play a lot. I would kind of lean into the other side of that and play them a lot.
Because the only team so far that we've heard that's resting any starters is the Falcons, and they're not going to play neither Michael Penix Jr. nor Kirk Cousins is playing their first game coming up.
All I'm going to say is I want Jackson to go back and look at all the Kansas City Chiefs games in preseason the last 3 years. See how much their starters played.
There could be something to that, right?
Yeah, I think they played a lot. And people were pissed that Mahomes is playing too much. And, well, they start off pretty good. I want to see the data, of that. I'm sure somebody's done some research, and because a lot of teams aren't even playing players a lot in preseason. And I get it, because the fear of just getting hurt over a game that doesn't matter, it makes sense. But, man, I'm definitely playing my guys in the trenches. And you got to play your offensive guys because of the rhythm and timing of everything that goes on. It's nowhere around it. You have to play football to be good at football in live action. Things ratchet up compared to a freaking practice. It's just,
it doesn't
there will be some practices I'm out there learning, okay, we just put in a game plan. I don't know if, during the regular season, hey, I don't know how this can fit. Some guys don't even understand what we just put in. They're in the wrong spots. I mean, I'm trying to figure it out. Man, somebody could zoom right by me and they're like, oh, Blaine got toasted. I'm like, well, dude, I'm trying to figure out what we're trying to accomplish here at the same time. So it's just interesting to kind of watch how things have changed and evolved, and is that really good? And the players think they're getting over by not having padded practices.
Well, it also, you speak to not finding that rhythm in the game, and you got to create that rhythm in the game. For the Tennessee Titans, doesn't feel like they're even creating opportunities for rhythm at practice. And if you're not creating opportunities for rhythm at practice, and you're not creating opportunities or going to have many opportunities for rhythm in preseason games, then there should be no reason to expect that you're going to have rhythm come week one versus the Denver Broncos.
Were you at the practice, Jackson? This weekend?
I was not.
Okay. So to me, it's the ultimate game breaker when you see 12 guys on the line. The only person we kind of saw that last year was the Vikings, right?
Yeah.
So if they're coming at you 12 plays in a row, I think you kind of knew that this was happening going into the practice coaches. Why didn't you run a screen? Why didn't you run a quick play? Maybe they did, but there had to be one-on-one somewhere. There should have been a completions.
And there's more talks of the longest. He's holding the ball too long.
So you got to let it go.
Where's his other outlet? Right. Because there were times where it felt like Will Levis didn't know which outlet to go to. And you don't want to see those same mistakes crop up with Cam Ward.
They're supposed to be built in, but when you have blitzing, it's a little bit different. But it's hard to say without having a game plan. So you're not game planning your own defense.
Because we're trying to balance that delicate line between what's real, what's not, what's noticeable in practice, what doesn't really matter in practice, who has the benefit, and trying to find the analysis in all of this. It's really difficult because at the end of the day, this is a rookie quarterback. This is a lot of new pieces, but you have brought it up. I agree. Who has the most talent on the starting offense for the Tennessee Titans or the starting defense for the Tennessee Titans? You would agree starting offense has the most talent.
Yeah.
But right now it's looking like that talent is not able to doesn't have an answer for being behind the eight ball. Because essentially what they're saying that the theme this weekend, I heard it like 5 times from different coaches, was we're throwing the kitchen sink. That's the company catchphrase right now for the coaching staff is we're throwing the kitchen sink at the offense. We're throwing the kitchen sink at them. And that's all well and good because that's what teams are going to do. But teams don't throw the kitchen sink every week, every play. They have different plays, and it feels like they're just – I get the intent of making things hard and because things are going to be hard in the NFL. But as an offensive coordinator and a play caller and play designer – the answers to the test should be with the offense in some form or fashion. It doesn't seem they have a lot of answers for the questions and problems that the Titans defense has given them. What I don't know who that says what about, right? Because I mean, does that say something about the play design or the play calling? Does that say something about the execution? Probably a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. And that's what we're trying to do, is just talk it out and search for answers. And we may not be getting answers anytime soon until week 1 begins.
Well, I wouldn't push the panic button, especially offensively, when, quarterback is going through this growth curve here. But one thing I can say, and I know everybody is saying this, and I don't know if that's what they're putting out there. I think they are. We're throwing the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
You're saying this term. Watch this. If there's 12 guys on the line of scrimmage, where do you throw the ball? Just quarterback. You don't have to be a quarterback. I'm going to ask Jackson. Where do you throw the ball? Where do you throw the ball? Like, just pick. Where would you throw the ball if you see a max blitz and they're doing man-to-man? Where are you throwing the ball?
The flat.
No, what player?
Probably the running back.
Where would you throw the player? He might be in protection scheme.
Yeah.
So he probably
I'd probably then go to the tight end.
Right. Tight end or back. You have one-on-one matchups. There's no wrong answer. You can pick any guy you want to throw to and throw the ball. So
let them go make the play.
Right. So is that now easier or harder for the quarterback to distinguish? You tell me.
Should be easier if everybody's on the line.
Right. See, this goes back to what they did to Malik Willis, and they tried to blitz him, and they made it actually easy for him because now he can say, I'm picking my guy, and I'm going to just let it go in 3 seconds because I know I'm going to get hit.
Yeah.
See? So that's what Cam Ward should be doing. He should be. So what I've been saying is happening to me at practice is guys aren't getting open. The first thing I said earlier was Calvin Ridley dropped a deep ball. Because, see, what you do with a defense that attacks, you attack them.
Yeah.
You go at them.
Get them to back off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you go at them and say, hey, man, y'all better slow your roll because we got weapons over here and we about to unleash them. You just didn't help us. Yeah, and you just pick your guy. Pick the guy you're going to throw to and throw it to him. They get it. Okay, we got some guys. Well, then obviously, outside of really, then nobody's really getting open.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. And then we go ahead and say, he's holding on to the ball. Well, if he knows they're blitzing, and I think it's pretty clear when he knows, he got to get rid of the ball. Yeah. I don't care if it's incomplete. Throw it out of bounds down the sideline and hope your guy can make a catch.
Live for another
day. Yeah, that's it. So maybe that's what they're trying to force him to do to kind of break this habit of his that he thinks he can make a play.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what they're doing. I have no idea. But to me, when they're blitzing all out, man, it's not that easy, but to some extent, you got to be throw
we
to
make
the
it
outside.
Sound easier than what it actually is.
But he can
you
throw
gotta
outside.
Be decisive.
Granted, you don't know who's dropping, who's coming in your line. But guess what you do know? I'm getting rid of this ball quick as lightning, and I know where I'm going with the ball. So if you want to be safe, go throw outside. There's not a lot of traffic out there. Mostly it's one-on-one. So
if it's one-on-one, I'm going to Calvin Ridley every time.
There you go. See, that's kind of what I would be doing.
Yeah. My reads would be, because I would assume that maybe the running back's going to at least chip before he goes out.
Right.
It's going to be Calvin, Chig, and hopefully, if I still have time, I may have to scramble a little bit, but have an out to my running back who probably chipped and went out. I don't know, but I'm going 1-2, ball's got to be out.
Yeah. It's kind of that simple. Like, so that's kind of how I play it. I just don't know if he thinks that he can recreate what he was actually doing. There's going to be times he can buy some time, no doubt about that. But I mean, you got to practice on getting rid of the football. Those are the issues all the quarterbacks that come into this league are having. You saw Caleb Williams do the same thing in college, and he thought he was going to be able to do that in the pros. Jaden Daniels figured out pretty quickly that he can't do that. If not, he's gone. He's taking off and he's running for real.
And so Cam Ward doesn't have that at
kind
least
of
on display, that kind of wheels.
No, not that kind of wheels. Now, he's got scrambling ability, but not like that.
And it's kind of like you're breaking in a wild stallion, it sounds like. Yeah. Because, I mean, we've talked about it. College schemes don't really teach point throwing. Like throwing guys open or throwing anticipatory throwing and all that kind of stuff. And on time. It's kind of a chaotic mess once the ball's snapped and
the best teams with the best players typically win.
So it's a lot different in the NFL when maybe you're on a team that doesn't have the best players of your division or the best players in your conference. It's a little bit different. When we come back, we'll get to John on the phone. 615-737-1045 is the number. Talking all things Tennessee Titans. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 1045 The Zone.
Guys, if something's holding you back from performing at your best, it's time to do something about it with performance enhancement treatment packages from Edge Peptide. Whether you're in the gym or on the course, with Edge Peptide and hormone therapy, you can show up stronger, feel better, recover faster, and stay in the game longer. You can also boost your energy and build some lean muscle mass and heal from those nagging injuries I know I have. So as an athlete myself, I know how those injuries can affect your game. So if you're struggling with joint pain, suffering from a recent injury, or looking to recover faster after surgery, Edge has you covered. From peptide packages to PRP, stem cell, and high film muscle stimulation, Edge is your exclusive Nashville area peptide specialist. So don't wait to feel your best, and don't trust any of those other imposters. And don't wait till you feel your best, and don't trust your health to some online pharmacy. And remember, at Edge, your consultation fee of $250 is waived with your initial order. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878. Or you can go to edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone. Powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to John, who wants to talk about Cam Ward. John, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I guess. Hey, I just wanted to make a comment. You guys were talking about, the defense is throwing the kitchen sink at the offense, play after play. And, I got to disagree with that. Playing football for years and years, the last week of practice and actually leading up to preseason or regular season games, the offense has to gain a personality. They have to. It's not just throwing stuff at the offense. You've got to let the offense get a little confidence built up before they go into the season. I can remember Coach being on the field and blowing the whistle when I was about ready to slam a quarterback. So I understand what they're trying to do, but in the same token, if they don't get a personality, if they don't pick up a swagger, they're going to be crap. And that's all I got to say about it, man. I'll let y'all talk.
Thanks,
Take
John.
care. Long-time listener. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it, John.
Appreciate it, John. I mean, it does, the kitchen sink, I guess, strategy, I guess you could say, or whatever. Because, we heard Bo Hardigree say it, Brian Callahan say it, and Denard Wilson say it. I thought Nick Colt said it, but I think I may have been wrong. But, you got a couple of, that seems to be, is that a convenient talking point, Blaine? Or is it an actual, okay, this is what we're really doing, and, we're doing things differently than we did last year. Last year, we may have not done this, and it may came back and bit us in the butt later on down the road, so we're doing things a little bit differently. But it's when everybody starts using the same phrase, it makes, I kind of put on my, public relations media hat kind of deal. And it makes me feel like it's a talking point to kind of fool us into thinking that, everything's okay because we're just throwing the kitchen sink. We want him to get better, but don't panic quite yet.
Yeah, well, I said I don't even he's going through development just like everybody else. So even though the focal point is on him, but no, I actually lean into what the caller, that was a great call there with John. In essence, what he was talking and referring to is, what is the identity? That's what I was asking. Are they running the football? And if you go back and kind of just think about last season, and I know it was a horrific season, so a lot of people don't even want to think about that. But if I'm going to ask you and Jackson, what do you think the identity of the team was? Starting with you. What was the identity of the team? You had a 1,000-yard rusher, you had a 1,000-yard receiver. I still don't know what they were. Yeah. To be honest.
And that's where I struggle too. I know what they told us they wanted to be.
What did they say they wanted?
They wanted to be an efficient offense, but they weren't.
They weren't.
Yeah. So I'm kind of with you on that. It's they are the kings of giving us buzzwords. I will have to say that. Now, I don't think that I think that's what they truly believe in some cases. Some cases I feel like it's a little bit of coach speak. Trying to get people.
What if we ask him, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does efficient mean?
He said last year, he said last year was we're going to raise Will Levis's completion percentage was a big talking point. That ties into efficiency.
Did it happen?
They did that. And then on top of that, they didn't want to be in third and longs. Well, they didn't do that. They wanted to be effective on early downs. They weren't. So, again, it's a great philosophy, but you got to have a philosophy that executes. And is efficiency really an identity that your team can rally around? Because to your point, you're talking about run game. Well, you could rally around Derrick Henry as a run game. And listen, if you want to be a run-first team, be a run-first team that sets up the pass. That is fine in the NFL. Many successful offenses do that. They use the run to set up the pass. It's not a necessity anymore, but there are effective offenses that go run, pass. Mm-hmm. There are effective offenses that do that. It just didn't seem it seemed like the Tennessee Titans had an identity crisis last year. I don't know what the identity of this offense is supposed to be outside of what they told us, which is explosiveness. But that's just to Calvin Ridley, right? Right now, that's where we've seen explosiveness. We've seen Tajay Spears be explosive coming out of the hole on the few runs he gets. But again, what is that as an actual identity?
What was you going to say, Jackson?
I think their identity was a mess. That's what it ended up being. That was their offensive identity in 2024.
Well, I think to the caller's point there, John, like I think that needs to be addressed on what they are actually offensively and defensively. So this makes it clear of why they kind of do what they do. He said he wants to be efficient. So when I hear that, I just think about the fast pass game.
Yeah,
like that's what I think. Now,
and it wasn't
totally
getting
different.
executed. But, I mean, where does that fall on the list of? Okay, is that a Brian Callahan issue or a quarterback issue? I mean, I don't know. But it did seem like there was a lot of plays, and I'll go back to even with Tim Kelly and Todd Downing, where there were these long developing routes and not enough of the quick game. Like if you want to be efficient, it's like Tom Brady going down and peppering the field in no huddle offense, right? Like you're going down the field, short pass here, short pass there. We're using our passing game as an extension of our run game. And it didn't seem like, we know that they didn't use a lot of no huddle last year. And it just didn't seem like, with a bad offensive line, both quarterbacks that struggled to get in a consistent rhythm, don't you think no motion and quick passing would have helped alleviate all of that to some degree? You can't go, 100% plays, no huddle, but that seems like all stuff that could have helped not only feed into your identity of being an efficient team, but also help mitigate the disasters that you had at certain positions, at right tackle, at quarterback, sometimes at left tackle. It would kind of help get everybody into a rhythm, and just seemed like they didn't do that. And now I'm struggling to see them get this offense into a rhythm, by their words, by design. I mean, I don't think it's by design they want to fail, but they're throwing the quote-unquote kitchen sink.
So you think motion would have helped them?
I think pre-snap motion would have helped them. I think that no huddle definitely would have helped them to some degree, because pre-snap motion allows your quarterback to kind of get some clues to what the defense is doing. Now, the defense isn't going to do exactly what you do, but it gives you maybe a clue. I don't know. It just didn't seem like they could go, and I just think there were other things they could have done to help alleviate this offense last year.
Then that's on the coaches, if you believe that.
I do. I do think some of it's on the coaches.
Yeah, they didn't have the personnel, so I think really at all levels, from offensive line, quarterback mishaps, and then drops there frequently by the receiver. So I just think there was always something, and they just weren't good enough to overcome some of their misgivings when they had opportunities. And they were a team that, as we saw, they just can't make a lot of mistakes, and they were. The things I look for in the offense is just kind of being disciplined within the structure of the offense. And I think that's where they always kept talking about when they get a false start or holding, and that just kind of backs a team up. Well, what's to say that you can't overcome those, though?
Yeah.
So I just think they thought they didn't have good enough players to run that offense that he wants. So now you have to wait for young players to get up to speed sooner than later, and that's going to take a little bit.
There's only so much you can do in the classroom.
Yeah,
because they're doing all the right things, right? Like they're doing all the right things off the field. They're getting there at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. They're all practicing together. They're doing this and that. But at the end of the day, it's all about that execution. And right now, they're just not executing what they're learning. But it's practice. Like, it's August 1st. It's August 2nd. Like, again, it's hard for me to I feel like I'm bashing, but we need to see something. And now I kind of look at this practice schedule this week, and I'm like, are we really going to see enough to even have anything after this first preseason
we won't
game?
see anything but on Wednesday.
Right. So we're not going to have enough information then. So, then we're going to be talking about a preseason game, and then everybody's going to be like, well, it's just a preseason game. It's just practice. Well, at some point, you have to see progress, and the Tennessee Titans just aren't seeing that progress. We'll continue this conversation when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Did you know Eurofix has a very different business philosophy? They staff all their locations with more staff than the average auto repair shop, just so they can be ready for an emergency that pops up out of nowhere. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to get a right now appointment for a vehicle repair? Well, some dealers can be more than 2 weeks out just to get a freaking appointment. But not Eurofix. Eurofix has been offering quality repairs that beat the dealer without the dealer pricing since 1999. Plus a 3-year nationwide warranty with the staff that fix your car right now. So if you are tired of waiting forever to get your car into the shop, then call Eurofix. Owner Aaron Stokes says, "We will never be too busy for our customers. We're here to take their pain away, and we mean right now." And Eurofix repairs all European cars, and Eurofix says yes to speedy repair when others can't or won't. Family owned for over a quarter of a century. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always John Blaine said you.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. You know, you as fans, how willing are you to be patient with the process of developing a rookie quarterback? The Tennessee Titans, the last rookie quarterback they, I guess, drafted in the first round and developed was Marcus. And he was given a lot of patience. And listen, he had some success. He had some failures. He got injured. That Christmas Eve game against the Jaguars, plus the nerve injury in that really long Miami game, probably derailed a lot of his career. But they were developing him. Tennessee Titans fans kind of showed him patience. But, I mean, how much patience is Cam Ward going to get? Because I think patience ran out with Will Levis, and some of that is his own undoing for sure. But when it comes to patience, are you going to have that same patience with Brian Callahan as well? And I guess how do you determine when to give grace and when to give patience and leniency? I mean, Jackson, from the fan perspective on your end, I mean, typically what you are in practice after a certain point of so many practices, it goes onto the field. So how long of a leash are you willing to give both, really just Brian Callahan and this Tennessee Titans team? Are you willing to give them a year 3 if year 2 does not show much promise, maybe just some promise?
It's not even really about promise for me as much as it's about improvement. I think when we reach the end of 2025, we need to be able to look back and see improvement and, things to build on for 2026 for this staff to get another year, in my opinion. If Cam Ward's improving and he looks much better or better from week 1 to week 18, that's all I am looking for from this coaching staff, because that is priority number 1, is the development of Cam Ward.
615-737-1045 is the number. I mean, how much are you going to give Brian? Because is it really all about Cam Ward? Because the reason I asked that is, what if everything else fails around him, right? What if the defense starts to crumble? What if the offensive line isn't as good as what the investment has? Because there's other things that go in your job, I guess, requirements than just Brian Callahan. So Blaine, than just Cam Ward's development. Is it? Because we've kind of talked about maybe it's just as simple as Cam Ward gets developed and he gets to keep his job. But if everything else, if the 52 other players don't live up to anything, how much of that but Cam Ward does, is that enough for Brian Callahan to keep his job?
Well, I think it's not just that. It's also how the team looks. You can still lose a lot of games and be in games and look very competitive. So I think not only the quarterback, I think they got their offensive line, at least you hope, right. It can't be worse than last year, knock on wood there. And you're hoping these wide receivers develop, and then the vets hold them off as long as they can, and then they learn some things from the vets and then eventually take over. So we shall see if that happens. I think there's a culmination thing. It's not just Cam Ward, but that is the number one uno. I mean, you got to get that done, and that's with protection and making sure that he can become the best you think player he can be, and then continue to improve week to week. Kind of, what Jackson said there from week 1 to 18. But I like to see drastic gains over like periods of like quarters. To me, I'm looking at the season as quarters, 4 games or so. Every 4 games, we got to revisit and see where he's at and see if he's getting better and seeing different looks, playing different style defenses, and what got gave him trouble and what things did he excel at, and let's kind of lean into those things and try to help him out to be the best version of himself, at least this first year. So, and I think he's a quick studying, but he's still got to learn. I mean, that's just sometimes in sports, man, you can't only learn until you do it.
Right. This could either go Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud, or it could be on the other. It could be kind of in the middle and be a Caleb Williams rookie year, or it could be a Bryce Young kind of ride, right? I mean, we don't know what the ride is going to be for this year of Cam Ward, but you got to see improvement. Like with Bryce Young, they never really saw improvement his rookie year. With Caleb Williams, you saw improvement even if it didn't lead to wins. And, I'm still waiting to see improvement in this offseason. Yeah. And you do need to see some improvement in the offseason of some sort. And we know he can improve year over year. Mm-hmm. But this is an accelerated kind of NFL world that we live in now. And you got to kind of like show your improvement instead of year over year. Quarter over quarter, phase over phase almost. And doesn't have to be like he doesn't need to be throwing 4,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
He doesn't?
That'd be great. Don't get me wrong. But we got to see some improvement.
I know you jokingly said that, but what do you think he has to do?
Stats-wise?
Yeah.
I think you're looking for at least probably 3,200 yards. And I'm going to say a 33% positive touchdown interception ratio. If he's throwing 1/3 more touchdowns than he's throwing interceptions.
Give me an example. 30 and 15 or?
Yeah, 30 and 15, 30 and 20. Hopefully not that, but
I mean, yeah.
He's going to throw picks.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. I hate comparing them to those players you mentioned.
Yeah.
Reason why? They had better teams.
Well, and
so that's unfair right off the bat. I just said nobody's open.
Right.
So you think those teams, they had guys open.
What I'm saying is they could be, he could be a guy that elevates a team.
And I get everybody's going to do the comparison because he was the number 1 pick. I get why, but they're in different situations. Mm-hmm. The comparable is Bryce Young because he went to a horrible team and he didn't have pieces around him. Or even
Trevor Lawrence. His rookie year.
Okay, right. Yeah. But I was just using last year's or the last couple years, where you're talking about C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams. Those players were put in much better situations. We could talk about the receivers who they had there with Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. So he doesn't have that, but Calvin Ridley, who's a up and down player, who a 1B. I mean, so to me, and the team isn't as good. So we're going to compare him to something that's not even comparable in my mind.
What I was doing was comparing the scenarios. He may be a guy that can elevate a team to a playoff team. I don't know. Or maybe he could be a guy that gets better and the wins aren't there.
See, by saying that statement there, that's already, how can he elevate a team that doesn't have pieces to help him elevate them? Like, he can't elevate this team to a playoff team. This is not in the cards. Like, something's going to happen. It have to be a surprise player outside of him to do something dramatic that we go, whoa, we didn't expect this year out of that player to me for that to happen.
Gotcha.
I just I mean, we're going to be pushing 6-7 wins on a good day. Like if we get some breaks on a bad day, we could be right where we were this past season.
It's a very real possibility to walk away from almost a record that looks like what it was last year. It may look better on the field, but the record may be the same.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's about what the product looks like, and is he, Ward, getting progressively better gaming now? He's going to have some roller coasters ride, but you want to see this, and the wave is still kind of going up after maybe some down, falls here early on against some really good teams and defenses. So I just I just think we got to be careful. Everybody's going to expect this world will change, and it's not the same situation. It's kind of more like, Bryce Young, and where you're in a new offense and with not all the pieces in place. Man, it's going to be a tough grind for him, and I actually appreciate what they're actually doing for him. Hopefully, it'll make him better in the long run. We're not going to appreciate it early on, but in the end, he's going to be a better player. So I'm hoping that happens. We can all guess and say, oh, it will, and he has the work ethic for sure, and he has the mindset. But we also know it's about what you do in the game. At the end of the day, we could talk about all we want to after, till our nose falls off. But if he balls in games, nobody cares. I mean, really. I mean, at the end of it's about the dudes who, when they strap it up, they're ballers. Like, they're going to figure it out, and they're going to figure it out quick. And he's got to figure it out pretty quick.
Yeah, because if he goes for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, they still lose the game. Well, that's still a good game from Cam, more than likely, theoretically.
Unless he threw that interception for a touchdown pick to lose the game.
Right.
Or was a major, it's a major factor in why they lost.
And then maybe you just chalk that up to growing pains or learning things. I mean, we don't know.
Did we do that for Will Levis?
In that year with the Pittsburgh Steelers game, a lot of people did, but, his rookie year.
I'm talking about Zaire.
Yeah, not last year for sure. Jackson, what you got?
I think it's almost more about losing games maybe 31-27 compared to 31-14 last year.
Right, that's why I said stay competitive.
Yeah, stay competitive.
Yeah, but I mean, there's going to be times it's not going to happen, but it's going to be exciting to see what he does bring to the table. But I would, so how much would you play him in the preseason? See, that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
Like that worries me too. Like, dang, I want to play him, but he's going to get injured. Oh, I can't do that. I don't want him getting nicked up. I play him in the third quarter for no reason. I got to keep him out there with the offensive line. Like, how much, man, you got to get him ready for game one.
Yep.
Like, these are tough decisions, and I'm glad I am not making them. Jackson, how much would you play him in this preseason?
First game or total?
First game, go game by game.
Game 1, I'm playing him a quarter. Game 2, the first half and the first drive out of halftime. Game 3, one drive.
I don't know. See, I don't think there's no perfect. That's the thing.
I agree with that pretty much.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I would probably play him a quarter, but I mean, I guess that's coin toss.
Because you risk everything. You could risk your entire season on a preseason game, but you can't coach scared and you can't play scared.
You risk your
job. You got to
job.
play smart and coach smart, and you just don't know.
And then you never win.
And then you never win.
As the coach, then you're going to critique. If he got nicked up and he played like the first quarter of the last preseason game, people are like, why was he playing anyway?
Yeah. When we come back, we'll go to Steve and James. Y'all wait on the line. We'll come back to you when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Pray.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. The Grand Poobah tells us before we come on air while the music's playing, he's got a stat for us.
Yeah, fantastic stat.
And I asked, when do you want to say the stat? And he goes, well, I'll do it before we take phone calls because it's a stupid stat. So you really sold yourself on this stat, Grand Poobah.
You said it was fantastic.
The Braves and the Titans have the same amount of regular season wins in the state of Tennessee in the last 12 months.
Why were you trying to depress us even more? Why would you do that?
I told you it was dumb.
It's not. It's a way to depress.
Oh,
man. Oh, man. You just gonna just ruin my day, man.
I love it.
Watch this. How many receivers are healthy for UT?
Oh, my day's ruined. 4.
4?
Count them on one hand. 4.
Kind of on one hand.
Where's the depth at, man? I thought they had a great recruiting class.
Hurt.
They all hurt?
That is the depth.
Hurt?
Yes.
Wow. Hey, these guys, they got to get their hammies right, man. They ain't built the way they used to be, man.
Nope.
They ain't built, man.
They're running too much.
They're gazelles now,
Yeah.
man.
All right, let's go to Steve, who wants to talk about the Tennessee Titans office. Steve, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call, Zach. Hey, Kid Van, a lifelong 49er fan here, but living in Tennessee, become a Titans fan.
Ooh.
And you were by far my favorite Titan player. You were a bad man in between the lines. But I wanted to talk a minute about Callahan and his future, but also about the offense. I mean, with Will Levis, Tennessee didn't have the guy that touches the ball every time is the guy you need running the show. And sometimes he looked to me like a bug-eyed squirrel that had lost his walnut somewhere when he came off the field. You think about systems and efficient offenses. Being a 49 fan, you go to Bill Walsh's West Coast offense with Montana, Rice, Taylor, Brent Jones, Ricky Waters, all those guys. Montana ran the system. The big shots were there, but it was going over the field. The 90s was a team from Texas I don't talk about because we don't breathe their name in my house. But you know who I'm talking about, of course. And you fast forward a little bit to Montana's hero was Tom Brady, wanted to be Joe Montana. Well, they always had, efficient skill players. I mean, Welker, Amendola, guys that would go over the middle and take a lick from a big linebacker. Mm-hmm. It's become a system-oriented NFL is what it is. And I'm going to let you guys chat, but as far as Brian Callahan goes, I mean, look what he did at Cincinnati with Burrow and Higgins and Chase. And the running back, he had a great system there. And what you were talking about earlier is Cam Ward has got to have skill players, and the Titans just don't have them. Calvin Ridley's great, but you have got to have a system in place, which I think he has. And I think Callahan is a great coach for the Titans, and I think he can do some great things here.
Thanks, Steve. A bug-eyed squirrel who lost his walnut.
Oh,
a bug-eyed squirrel who lost his walnut.
walnut.
I wrote it down because I'm going to keep that. I'm going to save that one and use it.
I'll chop that and mess it all up.
Yeah,
I'll let you do that.
So I mean, I do find what he's saying to be true, right? I mean, because even he said he was a 49ers fan. He didn't even bring up his own squad. I mean, in recent Brock Purdy, right? Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. That's a lot. That's a lot of skill players.
That's a lot.
And you look at the Bengals, same thing. You can go through the list of skill players. They just signed Noah Fant. They have Mike Gesicki. They have T. Higgins. They have Jamar Chase. They had Joe Mixon. Now they got Chase Brown, who, we'll see where he gets on the Joe Mixon scale for running backs. But they had all these pieces, and the Tennessee Titans have Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard, and we'll see what everybody else is right now. I mean, that's kind of where we're at when you're looking at the skill players for this team, because not only does Cam Ward have to try to get the most out of them, they also have to be something a little bit more than what they were to also help Cam Ward out. It's a very symbiotic relationship. It's a give and take relationship, I guess you could say.
Yeah, but, what he reminded me of is, man, seems like you got to have two good receivers.
Mm-hmm. And today's NFL really feels like go through the list.
1A and 1B. So should the Titans have drafted with the second-round pick a receiver?
I feel that way.
But then they wouldn't have Femi. Could they got him in the third round?
I think we'd be all right if they did that.
Could we got him in the third round?
I mean, I'll be completely honest. I think they would have been fine. And maybe. I think they would have been fine with that.
The reason why I say that is because, remember, I asked you that question. You did a great job with, fourth-round receivers and how much impact they have.
Very little in year one. In year one.
Yeah, in year one. So, with a lot of opportunity, you say with the Titans, with that number increase, at least in opportunities, you would think so. But, man, maybe they should have went a different route, man.
Yeah.
If you believe you got your general, you got to give him some weapons, and maybe, they kind of slow playing it, but they, in their eyes, got some guys who were maybe rated higher, and they just got them at later spots.
Well, go back to Brian Callahan's own history. They had a choice between Penei Sewell and Jamar Chase, and they chose Jamar Chase.
Can we please stop as though Brian Callahan made those decisions?
Well, he didn't make the decision, but he agrees with the decision.
Even though even the caller acted like he made the calls there at Cincinnati. He did not.
Right.
He didn't make the calls. He sat there and led the game plans in the meeting.
But philosophically, he agreed with that decision. He went on radio here in Tennessee and even said, what was take the playmakers.
Right. Well, he's going to go against what happened because now he knows what actually was a positive in that what happened. He knows the end game because it happened.
Yeah.
So, it was a positive. But if it didn't happen, would he have said the opposite?
I don't know.
So, I mean, he saw the future because it's already happened. So it's easy to kind of lean into that.
Yeah. I look at it this way, though. Look at the teams around the NFL that have two wide receivers that have been successful. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown up over in the Eagles.
Right.
Even with, the Dolphins have had winning seasons, but they have two wide receivers. They just need a healthy quarterback.
What about Bryce Young?
Bryce Young doesn't have anybody. I mean, I guess it's going to be Xavier Legette and Tet McMillan and Adam Thielen, which, again, I don't feel like that's a good recipe for success. But look at what Tampa Bay has. In the same division. Look at what they got. They actually drafted two more wide receivers after drafting wide receivers last year. They got wide receivers upon wide receivers upon wide receivers. They are loaded.
I know. DB's going to get some good work.
Because look at what is going on up in New England. Matt Collins is playing through injury. Stephon Diggs is coming off an ACL, and they're both older players. Mm-hmm. They're relying on Keyshawn Boot out of LSU, the guy that went the fourth or fifth round is their ex-wide receiver right now. That doesn't seem like a recipe for success up there. So you can go around and look at, the teams in the NFL, the haves and the haves not, and quarterback is some of it, but a lot of it could be the wide receivers and the playmakers around these guys. And the Tennessee Titans, I think there is a case to be made that they probably should have valued wide receiver a little bit more because the chances of Chimere DK, Elikai Manor, and Gunnar Helm, all drafted in the fourth round, all being hits, is very, very slim. And if you're talking about draft, develop, retain, you need those guys to develop because you didn't sign anybody else. And Calvin Ridley is going to be another year older next year, going into the third year of his four-year contract. And if one of these guys don't step up for you, Elikai Manor or Chimere DK, you still need a wide receiver at the same time that you still need two pass rushers next year. It's just it's hard. It's tough to solve everything in one offseason. Mm-hmm. But if you're drafting a quarterback, to me, if you're drafting the quarterback, you went defense with your second and third round pick. Doesn't really help your quarterback immediately in the short term. Defenses can help, but that's expecting a lot from Femi Oladejo and Kevin Winston to immediately help this team and help a young quarterback on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I probably would have been a little more desperate, but hindsight's 20/20. We got to wait and see, but obviously he's not a happy camper as we've seen them run now after practice here this last go-round. I think they've run before is what people
because they ran on Friday while we were there.
Okay, so they've run before.
And they ran on Sunday, so I'd assume Saturday too.
Man, I don't know if I recall ever running maybe one time.
Well, that's just because you're a much better player than him.
No. I'm not talking about me in general. I'm talking about just the team.
Yeah.
See, I'm a big proponent on if one side of the ball has a horrific day, I make the other side of the ball run, and the offense would have watched them run.
Yeah.
And see, either we're gonna come together or we're gonna separate. Because see, now the defense is running for your mishaps, and they had a good day. I'm gonna make them run. Watch them run. See, my style is totally different. Everybody run. Oh, man. Then they slugging along, and it's like, oh, man. Defense like, man, we don't need to be running. We did our thing. What's going on? They just jogging through it. Nah, watch them. You better pick up your teammate because there's going to be a time when you're not going to play well and they're not going to play well. And one side of the ball is going to have to play better than the other and a whole lot better. And they got to carry us for that game.
Well, heck, you saw it all last year, except for there was 2 phases usually crapped out on the team. And it's one guy, it's one unit trying to carry the rest. And listen, I'm doing a little project to find missed sacks. I went through and watched 170 defensive plays that had pressure on them according to Next Gen Stats. Went and watched 170 plays. And there are times where I'm like, man, they were really still pretty in this Detroit Lions game for a while. And then, I'm looking up and it's like in the third quarter and they're only like, 14 points behind. I'm like, well, that's not that bad. And then I'm watching, other games and I'm like, and then as the games go on, you go through the game by, first quarter to fourth quarter, you're like, yeah, this offense is just, or this defense is just tired. I mean, they are just exhausted. And I'm kind of afraid because that this defense this year is going to be put in the same kind of predicament where they're going to be exhausted and they're going to kind of peter out at the end. This offense has to help this defense this year. If you want any kind of improvement on wins, like this offense has to help.
You believe that could happen?
I don't believe it could happen. I just says it needs to happen.
Oh, yeah. Well, every time Jackson doesn't do Berganzi, me and you both have to do a lap around the second level here. And then we're going to be like, hey, man, Berganzi, come on, help me. Berganzi, you got to do it.
Got to do it.
Yeah, see? So you either going to come together or not, man. That's, But it's funny, the chat here, I mean, I don't know how this all worked out. I know you love Burden. Could they have taken Burden last year?
Believe so, if they didn't trade back. Yes.
All right, in the year before, they could have got Neighbors? Somebody said that.
Someone said they should have traded up for Neighbors.
Oh, okay. Right.
But they could have had room with Dunze. They could have had Brock Bowers.
Oh, yeah, that was a tough one.
And I'm a J.C. Latham guy, and I think J.C. Latham's going to have a good year, but I mean, playmakers matter.
Yeah,
Brock Bowers and Cam Ward would have been sick.
Yeah.
Hey,
listen, Will Levis and Brock Bowers may have been good. You never know. Will Levis and Brock Bowers may have been good. Nobody wants to hear that, but maybe that would have clicked something. It's different to have a game-changing type player, and Brock Bowers was a game-changing player. I know everybody wants to throw out the word generational, but I'll never forget when Kyle Pitts was coming out, and everybody kept calling him generational. I was like, he can't be a generational tight end. He's coming from the same division as Brock Bowers, who Brock Bowers clearly looks like a generational tight end already, and look at what Brock Bowers did. You can tell your playmakers pretty early in college. And that's still why I have faith in Cam Ward. But, I mean, I'm not saying Cam Ward's generational. Or Joe Burrow, like Good Morning Football tried to do this morning.
What happened?
Oh, they tried to say that, like, is it too early to say that Cam Ward is something like Joe Burrow or something like that?
Why would they do that?
Because Kyle Brandt's got to talk about the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward disrespect and try to tie it all together. I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, has anything told you generational this year so far in the trading camp?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet, right? That's what I'm getting at. Hold on. But wait a minute. We got to get through some practices with not throwing an interception or, having a good day or not a midday. Midday.
It was
mid.
It was the headline is Going for Two is the name of the segment, Good Morning Football, and it's Kyle Brandt. And underneath Kyle Brandt, it says, is it too early to compare Cam Ward to Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow? Yes. Yes, it is. It is way too early. It is way too early.
I need to go get a chiropractor adjustment, man.
They give you whiplash.
My neck is hurting now, man. There's no way he is in the same stratosphere as this guy any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I mean, like,
that one there.
He can believe himself to be whatever he wants to be. I'm not going to knock anybody's confidence or self-confidence in
Oh,
themselves.
no. He
or anything
definitely
like
believes he
that.
could be
Yeah.
great. Of course, he should believe that. No
Right.
doubt.
He should. You know, the what separates maybe sometimes the great player from a good player is that self-confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, I'm all for having that self-confidence. But like, yeah, it's obviously too early to compare Cam Ward to Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. He hasn't even played a snap in preseason yet.
How would a Joe Burrow do his rookie year?
It's a little
It was
iffy.
mid?
I would say mid would be a good word for it.
Mid to cheeks.
Yeah.
What? The term cheeks comes with him?
I mean, he got hurt.
Well, yeah, but
He
I mean,
only
that
played
doesn't.
9 games, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I would say probably 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in the 9 games he played. I think he was like 2,700 yards, something like that. So, I mean, not utterly terrible, but it probably was like, and then he goes down with injury. You're probably, if you're a Bengals fan, like, oh crap, what's going on here? Like, you know what I'm saying? A little bit, I wouldn't qualify. Do you put in the injury as like, I would take the injury out and just look at the games he played.
That's
to
all I'm
assess
doing.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I do.
So mid would probably
Yeah, I'd
be
say mid.
Yeah. They beat the Titans that year.
Yeah.
Remember, that's when they were starting a guy named Michael Jordan on their offensive line. They were down there their 7th or 8th offensive linemen actually starting because they had so many injuries and the Tennessee Titans couldn't get any pressure on them whatsoever. It was a terrible game.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. And
Yeah.
I go, how did we get no pressure? And the week before we had pressure, and this line was way worse.
Yeah, way worse.
The Bengals.
Wasn't
I remember
even
this
close.
game. It was in Cincinnati. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
man,
wasn't even, and that
it was painful.
And I think we threw a pass to an offensive lineman at one point during that game, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe been Ty Sambrello or it was someone.
man.
Maybe have been actually Aaron Brewer before he went to center.
Oh.
But
I don't think it went well.
it did not go well.
I don't think that whole game went well.
Not well. I mean, when they are trotting out a starting offensive line that hadn't played with each other, and I think they were starting 4 new people, if I'm not mistaken, on the offensive. I'm going to go back and look.
Yeah, it was bad.
That was a bad game. Talk about a stat. That's a stat. That was one of the worst defensive performances. Of course, that was one of the worst Tennessee Titans defenses ever. But that was a terrible performance by the Tennessee Titans. Terrible. All right, when we come back, we'll talk more about the Tennessee Titans, and we'll get that stat of how. I just have to go relive that game a little bit more, that Bengals game. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and
Hey,
Zach
you'll make
Lyons
my
here on
cheek
105
hurt.
The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Going back to that Cincinnati Bengals 2020 game.
You just want to just
Zero sacks, by the way, from the Tennessee Titans.
It was
defense.
a time like I think the defense did an ET and they ran into each other. Or something crazy.
There was a Jadeveon Clowney sack that he almost had it, and then someone hits him. I think out
that's
of it.
What it was. Yes,
Eight total pressures, by the way. And this is who they had starting. They had Billy Price at center, who this was his first start in 2020
for the Bengals. Yeah.
For the Bengals, he allowed 0 pressures whatsoever. Then you had Fred Johnson, who played right tackle, and this was his first time playing right tackle in the NFL for the Cincinnati Bengals. He played right tackle. He allowed just 2 quarterback hurries. Hakeem Adeniji, who this was his first time starting at left tackle for the Bengals in 2020. He allowed 3 hurries. Alex Redmond, who this was his 4th starting game at right guard. He allowed 0 pressures. And then our boy, Quentin Spain, who many Tennessee Titans fans know from his stint
that's right. He
here.
started at guard, didn't he?
This was his first start.
He was only there for 3 days or something crazy.
Only 3 days. 1 hurry allowed.
Yeah, he played really well. I was watching him because they act like he couldn't even play here.
Because I think there was a guy named Michael Jordan, and I think we all thought he was going to get the start, but they ended up switching around, and I think getting Quentin Spain at that point. But this was a patchwork offensive line from start to finish, from left to right, and the Tennessee Titans could only get 8 pressures on the game. Wild. That is just such a wild. That game will always stick out for the fact that they had 5 new offensive linemen that haven't even played.
What was Joe Burrow's numbers?
Let's go back to that game. I can tell you because I got it up real quick. In that game, Joe Burrow was 26 of 37, 70.3 completion percentage. He had 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 6.7 yards per attempt, 249 yards.
Dang.
0 sacks.
0 sacks, yeah, of course.
16 first downs.
That's what we're going to see from Cam Ward. That's what Coach Callahan compared him, right?
Yeah, he said that their processing or the way they take in information is similar.
Yeah, that's not playing in the game.
Yeah. I would.
We're talking about processing information.
Yeah. He says, well, I guess it's from taking what's in the classroom and putting it out on the field is very similar. Because he was talking about in the latest clip, because he talked about this, I think, at the owners' meeting at one point. But he went back. This was before they drafted Cam Ward, but he was talking about how because of COVID in Joe Burrow's first year, they have a lot of their team meetings via Zoom, and they have a lot of them recorded. And he would go back and watch to see where Joe Burrow progressed, where he didn't progress, what he liked, what he didn't like. And he uses it as a learning mechanism for maybe how to approach and look at things for Cam Ward. And so questions to ask, things to identify. And he said that it's been fun to compare and contrast the differences between Joe Burrow's rookie year and Cam Ward's rookie year so far. And some of the stuff that he learned as a coach, he's been able to apply here. Not necessarily what works for Joe Burrow works for Cam Ward, but the stuff that he learned as a coach.
Right, but it's basically saying it was the same.
Yeah,
but that's why you got to be real careful. To me, when your coach is comparing, because we in the media are going to take that and extrapolate that and say that, he's comparing to Burrow, he's somewhat similar to Burrow. No different than, they were talking about the Mahomes in the sidearm throw.
Or Burks and A.J. Brown. Right, remember when Burks got drafted?
It's just like, okay, wait a minute. Now you got to, in context, I'm sure that did happen. But if I was a coach, I'd be real careful. What some of these elite level players, comparing them to other guys, you got to put it, quantify it and just say, hey, there are some metrics that, some of the things that we did are very similar to what Burrow. Now, that's not to say that he is Burrow or that he will be, but just some of the metrics of what we've done for some of the testing is similar. So, we still got to get out there and play. Ultimately, all this stuff is a hill of beans until you get out there and play. Because, it's one thing to look at all these things from practice and comparables with some of the interview questions and everything else. But is he a baller? At the end of the day, that's just Joe Burrow is just a baller. He's just that guy. He's got that it. So will we see Cam Ward have it in his own way? And
isn't it a little bit, you can have it in college, but it may not translate to NFL?
Very sure. Yeah, very true. I'm sorry. Yeah, very, very much so. That could be true. I'm not thinking that's going to be the case.
Right. I agree with you.
But, I don't think it's going to be the level of Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Now, even when he was a youngster and got injured and, I think he can be a really good quarterback and maybe some years above that if he has the weapons around him in this system.
Yeah, because I think Joe Burrow's kind of proven, it's nice to have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but those guys have missed games, and the offense has still been able to run on time. So can that happen with Cam Ward? You want it to, you hope it does, but we haven't seen anything that really says that it's going to happen. Proof's in the pudding. Because you can have a mentality like Joe Burrow, and then you can go out there and play like rookie Bryce Young. I mean, listen.
Doesn't mean he can't get better, but that doesn't mean it's going to be like Joe Burrow.
And having this attitude and it factor is half the battle. I mean, it really is, because it goes into your preparation, all that stuff. Well, maybe it's a quarter of the battle. So, because you still got to handle NFL defenses, the speed of the game. You still got your pre and post snap. You got to be able to run and execute the offense, right? Because we did talk about no huddle offense, but there's a certain extent that maybe Will Levis, because you got to be quick on your feet. You got to be able to remember 2 or 3 play calls. You got to be able to do this to run a no huddle effectively, read the defenses quick, be able to get your protection set up. Maybe the reason why they didn't do no huddle a lot with Will Levis because he couldn't do all that stuff. We've seen Cam Ward do it in college, but can he do it in the pros? Like, that is the thing. There's a lot of stuff that will translate for Cam Ward from college into the pros. There's a lot of intangibles we have to wait on. We know one thing that's having a hard time translating to the pros is those sidearm throws, those low sidearm throws. Having a hard time translating. Not everything's going to be able to translate, so it's going to be not only what does translate, how does he handle adjusting when it doesn't translate?
Did he have any tip balls this weekend? Do we know? Nobody's talked about it.
I don't. At least if they did, they didn't end in an interception. So I think we know that at least there is an improvement there. Yeah. But I don't know about the tip ball question, to be honest. I
want to assume that he's a quick study, but you just never know. Sometimes these guys get, hey man, I can make it happen. They got that in them. They don't lose their confidence. They just feel like they can make a play.
Yeah. Hey, kind of like, I feel like Jay Cutler is kind of like that guy. Not in the same sense, but like he went out there and threw. Like he slung it, like a Ryan Fitzpatrick. But Brett Favre was kind of like that.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
But you got to have the right coaches to be around. Like, some coaches would have tried to will him back. And I think that's what the Falcons was like. We can't will him. This guy
it didn't work with them. And oh man, I can't believe I'm forgetting. Ron Wolf liked Brett Favre in the pre-draft process and said, okay, well, I think we got the coach that can get the most out of Brett Favre. I think this is perfect. Mike Holmgren and Brett Favre together will work. And so, it really all comes down to, will Brian Callahan and Cam Ward work? That's the biggest thing. Are those two guys? Will it work? God, I hope so.
I hope so.
I hope so. I hope so. Please, for the love of God.
Somebody's calling?
I cannot handle bad quarterback play any longer, or bad offenses. And listen, I'm okay with growing pains, but not every week, not week in, week out. Can't do that anymore.
I think you're gonna stress me out.
We're probably going to be stressed.
The Titans are.
We're going to have a lot of. I'm going to have more gray hair than what I already have coming in.
Dang it!
All right, that will do it for us. This has been Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone. 3HL's up next, and in the meantime,
and in between time,
peace.